Two saber-toothed titans. One kill. Only one walks away. This is the fight everyone pictures when they think of prehistoric South America. There's just one problem. It never happened. These two hunters missed each other by more than 1 million years. One was already dead before the other was even born. So what really killed the saber-toothed king of the South? The answer is stranger than any duel. A throne left empty for 1 million years, and a bridge that came too late to matter. For 3 million years, South America was an island. Cut off from every other landmass, it built a world found nowhere else on Earth. Here, hoofed, animals that exist on no other continent grazed the open grass. A creature with the body of a camel and the trunk of nothing alive today. A thing built like a rhino that was related to neither. This was their world, and it had one ruler. It looked like a saber-toothed cat. It was not a cat at all. Thylacosmilus was a sporacodont, closer to a marsupial than to any lion. Its enormous canines never stopped growing, curving up over its skull, and it evolved every bit of this in complete isolation. Here is the strange part. Far to the north, on a continent it would never see, evolution was building almost the same animal from completely different stock. Two saber-toothed hunters. Two separate worlds. Neither knew the other existed. This one is old. Look at the left saber, chipped, worn down by a lifetime of use. He has hunted this grassland his whole life, and he is very good at it. Nothing here challenges him. Nothing needs to. He is the king of a continent, and he has no idea that far away the sea is beginning to close, or that the ground under his feet has already turned against him. 3 million years ago, deep beneath the ocean, the Earth pushed up a bridge. A thin neck of land rose between the two Americas, closing a gap that had stood open for tens of millions of years. The crossing began before the bridge was even finished. Island by island, animals started to move. A giant flightless bird called Titanus had already island-hopped north into Florida, walking, in a sense, on a bridge that barely existed yet. The legend says, this is the moment the northern killers poured south to conquer the continent. But the legend has the order wrong. Before a single great cat crossed that bridge, the king of the South was already doomed, and not by anything with teeth. For millions of years, the world had been drying out. Long before the bridge, the planet cooled, the rains pulled back, and the lush landscapes of the South began to harden into open, arid grassland. For most animals, it was a slow change. For a hyper-specialized hunter, it was a death sentence written in advance. The prey that fed the saber-tooth thinned out with the drying land, and a predator this specialized could not simply switch to something else. Its whole body was a single answer to a single question. The question was disappearing. There was a bend in the river where he had always come to drink. Watch it. Watch the years pass over the one place he trusted. The green does not turn to gold. It turns to mud and then to dust. The trails that led here go cold, one by one, until the place that gave him life has nothing left to give. He did nothing wrong. The world simply closed around. He still knows how to fight. He drives off rivals. He wins every contest the grassland can offer him. But you cannot fight a drought. There is no enemy to charge, no throat to close on. He hunts a trail, and it is empty. He hunts the next, empty. He is doing everything right, and it is changing nothing. For one day, the rains tease the grass green again, and he makes a clean kill, and he rests. And then the dry returns and takes even that. He is outliving his own strength now, a body built to rule a world that no longer exists. And one day, the old king begins a stalk he will not finish. He lowers himself into the dry grass, the way he has 10,000 times before. And he simply stays there. No rain comes. No herd wanders back. The sky that killed him does not even know his name. A continent lost its king, not to a rival, not to an invader, but to an empty grassland and a silence that had been coming for 1,000,000 years. More than 1,000,000 years pass, 1,000,000 years of empty throne. And then, at last, the great saber-tooth of the story crosses the bridge and walks south. Smilodon, the largest saber-toothed cat that ever lived, bigger than a lion and far heavier. This is the invader the legend feared. But there was no war for him to win. The throne he inherited had been empty for longer than our own species has existed. He did not conquer the king of the south. He simply arrived, 1,000,000 years after the funeral. If you want to see a saber-tooth fight to the death, here it is. But not against Thylacosmilus. Against its own kind. Two males, over territory, over mates, driving those enormous canines at each other's skulls. And this is not a guess. This skull is real. There is a hole punched through the bone. And the only thing on Earth that fits that hole is the canine of another Smilodon. We can argue about whether a panicked prey animal could have done it. But the shape tells its own story. These kings fought each other. And what about the animals everyone says? The invasion wiped out. The strange hoofed grazers of the old world. Here is the twist. The legend never tells you. They lived. Macrauchenia and Toxodon were among the very few native giants to survive the interchange. They shared this land with Smilodon, not for a season, but for over 1,000,000 years. The interchange was lopsided. That part is true. Today, more than half of South America's mammals trace back to northern ancestors. But not because the northerners were better fighters. The imbalance came from something quieter and sadder. The natives of the South were simply more likely to die out. And even the ground sloths turned the story around. Giant, slow, and utterly successful. They walked north and made the northern continent their own, and the ones who went north did not all thrive. The terror bird, Titanes, had crossed early and walked tall through Florida. But the north already had its own killers, mammals it had never evolved beside. Within a few 100,000 years, it was gone. The bridge did not promise victory to anyone. It only opened the door. For over 1,000,000 years, the largest predator on the continent could not erase them. And then, 12,000 years ago, something else crossed the same bridge from the north. Not a bigger cat, us. Within a few thousand years, they were all gone. Macrauchenia, Toxodon, the giant ground sloths, the survivors of an entire interchange. The animals that had outlived a saber-toothed apocalypse vanished in the blink of a geological eye. Was it us? Was it the changing sky? The shifting climate at the end of the Ice Age? After all this time, we still argue about it. The spear, or the weather, or both together. We do not fully know. But the bridge remembers what we sometimes forget. It outlived every king that ever crossed it. The most famous fight in this story never happened. The king died before the invasion, killed by an empty sky. The victims outlived the invaders by 1,000,000 years. And the bridge that came too late for one king, and too early for the ones it was meant to kill, is still there, waiting the way it has always waited, for whoever crosses next.